Alright, it's been a minute. To the king! What is up, Middle-earth fans? My name is Trevor, and welcome to my channel. I used to do a segment on my channel called Middle-earth Mondays, and with Lord of the Rings of Power coming out here in just a couple weeks, we're going to bring that series back every Monday, talking Middle-earth, and no better way to reprise this series than to rank all 6 live-action Middle-earth movies, the 3 Hobbit movies, the 3 Lord of the Rings movies. We're going to rank them. Let me know your ranking down below in the comment section. Let me know Lord of the Rings content you want to see. I've done lots of rankings before. We're going to recycle through all of those, bring them back, because my opinions have changed on lots of these movies, all leading up to the Rings of Power, which we are going to be covering heavily. I cannot wait for that show. Let's hop into this ranking. So in last place, prepare yourself because it's a hot take. We have The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. Now, I want to start by saying I love all these movies. Like, literally all of them are 8.5 or above for me. But The Desolation of Smaug, my most recent rewatch, didn't hit as hard for me as it normally does. I used to love this movie. It used to be my favorite Hobbit movie. And now it's my least favorite Middle-earth movie in general, which is okay. I still think there's lots to love in this movie, especially with Benedict Cumberbatch as Smaug. I mean, he's literally, like, ripping his vocal cords to play this character. And it's kind of scary how well he talks. But Bilbo and Smaug's interaction is so awesome. This movie has a great amount of action. And the way it ends, like when I watched this movie, I thought the Battle of the Five Armies was going to be at the end of this. I didn't know it was going to be a whole third movie back when I watched it in theaters. But when Smaug is leaving like the mountain and he goes to like the city of Dale, and Bilbo's last line, the last line of the movie is, "What have we done?" It hit really hard. It's a great cliffhanger leading right into number 5, which is The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies. This movie gets a lot of hate, and I understand that. I absolutely love it. Like, every time I go back and rewatch it, I never understood why it got so much hate. I think the action is absolutely badass. I think Bard is one of the best characters inside the Hobbit universe. Luke Evans plays his character so great, but you get to see the Battle of the Five Armies. You got the orcs, you got the dwarves, you got the elves. I mean, that battle alone was absolutely epic, and you got the men in there, and like Bard is leading all these people who are basically kind of just like villagers and like not really warriors to go out and fight. And then you got the eagles coming in, and you have Azog, who's been the big baddie throughout the Hobbit movies, coming in to come and get Thorin. I mean, this battle's awesome. It's epic, and it is a little bit too CGI heavy at times, and that's okay. I just like this movie a lot. I think it leads perfectly into the Fellowship of the Ring when Thranduil says to Legolas, his father was a good man. He'll grow to be a great one. He goes by Strider. You're like, whoa, that's Aragorn! So, it's awesome. I love this movie. I think it gets a little too much hate, honestly. And at number 4 is going to be The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. I honestly love every single second of this movie. I love getting back kind of tossed into, like, not the Fellowship phase, but, like, almost like the Fellowship vibe that the Fellowship created with The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. An unexpected individual, a Hobbit, Bilbo Baggins, is going to go on to be the smuggler with the dwarves and this party, and Gandalf. And then there's so much love in this movie because it captures the Shire element really well, and I love the Shire scenes from the Lord of the Rings and from the Hobbit movies, and they really capture on, like, it doesn't matter where you come from, it matters where you go from there, and the odds are stacked against Bilbo. It's literally like a underdog story. He's not meant to go on his trip. He goes on there, he's going on an adventure, and his scene with Gollum in that cave when he gets the ring and they have the little riddle off. I mean, I love that scene in the book, and I love it even more in the movie. I think this movie's absolutely fantastic. At number 3 is going to be Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Now, this is one of the most epic movies ever, and it's one of the best sequels and one of my favorite sequels of all time. It's just a little bit slow. That's why it's coming in at number 3. But you get introduced to so many more awesome characters in this movie. You have Aramir, you have Gandalf the White, you get introduced to Theoden King, Wormtongue, Grima. Kind of scary, nasty little dude, but you get introduced to so many awesome new characters in this movie, and once it gets to the warg battle, and they kind of head to Helm's Deep, I mean, that's when this movie truly thrives. I would say it has the best third act of any of the Lord of the Rings or Hobbit movies. The Battle of the Helm's Deep is one of the best battles in cinematic history, and you had a little banter between Legolas and Gimli. Legolas, 2 already! I'm on 17! There's so many great lines in there as well, especially when Gimli tells Aragorn, you're gonna have to trust me. I love this movie. I love this third act. It just takes a little bit too long getting going in the beginning. Other than that, I think it's a perfect movie. At number 2 is going to be Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Now, this is one of the best, like, origin stories you can ever tell, and the way they introduce this world and all these characters, Peter Jackson captures that so beautifully, and that's what I love the most about it. My favorite part of this movie is literally the first 30 minutes when they're taking place at the Shire. I love the vibe of the Shire, and I love how they made it seem like the Hobbits have no worries in the world because the Hobbits don't do anything out of the ordinary. They like to drink, they like to hang out, they like to party, and they're all kind of like a tight-knit group, and that's the vibe they hit on, and I absolutely love it. You get introduced to the Strider, Aragorn, one of my favorite characters in cinematic history. Gandalf the Grey is absolutely awesome. Legolas, the first time we get to see him, and Orlando Bloom plays this character greatly. Gimli and Sean Bean as Boromir, one of my favorite characters from Lord of the Rings in general. This movie has everything from the action to the awesome origin to some sad and brutal deaths from Gandalf the Grey to Boromir. This movie hits the feels, it hits everything so well, and it sets it up perfectly into The Two Towers. I absolutely love The Fellowship. It's 1,000 out of 5. And that number 1 is my favorite movie of all time. It's Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. I always used to say, it's not my favorite. You know what? To hell with that. It's my damn favorite movie of all time. If you look up in the dictionary the word epic, there's a great big picture of this movie poster, The Return of the King, because that's exactly what this movie is. It is epic, and it is the most perfect conclusion ever. Some of the best battles you ever get, from the Battle of Osgiliath, then you got the Battle of Minas Tirith, and you get the Battle of the Black Gate, and the eye is fixed on them while Sam and Frodo are trying to battle yet again Gollum to go and destroy the ring and the Mount Doom. Everything about this movie works, and the emotion it hits on when Aragorn looks back at his guys and he's like, for Frodo, knowing that they might die, but they're going to give it hell just to give Frodo the chance they did, and that's exactly what they did. And my favorite line in possibly cinematic history, my friends, you bow to no one. It hits so hard. This movie's absolutely perfect. It's 1,001 out of 5. I absolutely love it. It's my favorite Lord of the Rings and Hobbit and Middle-earth movie. That's going to do it for this episode of Middle-earth Mondays. Let me know what Lord of the Rings or Hobbit content you want to see down below in the comment section, all leading up to Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power. I love Lord of the Rings. I love the Hobbit. I love Middle-earth. It's a great big passion of mine. I'm excited to be back talking about it. Hit the like button, subscribe button, come back more this week. Got lots more content. I'm excited for all of it. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time. To the king!